Hello all. It is I again with Sentinels how-tos. Yes, I bamboozled you. I said in the last episode that I'd be back with Bunker, but sure do you feel fooled. Ha! So this is Benchmark. Revo Corp presents Benchmark. He's a Complexity 3 hero with 31 health, and he's really, really cool. His innate power is the new standard. Draw a card, Benchmark deals 1 target, 1 energy damage. He's really cool, and I like him a lot, and I'm gonna teach you how to play him. He has so many different kinds of cards, and often, when you use cards to get other cards, you'll never know what you'll get. So you just gotta roll with things a lot. He has 9 different hardware cards. Yes, hardware. And he has 10 different software cards. And 3 different one-shots. I will be starting off with hardwares. So, let's just jump right into it. He's really cool, and here's why. We're going to start off with Flash Installation Unit. I like the name. At the end of your turn, discard the top card of your deck, then you may put a software from your trash into play. Is pretty good. You don't have to worry about the discarding the top card of your deck bit, and putting a software from your trash into play is also pretty good, because what if you lose something that you want? Or what if, what if it just somehow got in your trash from you discarding it off the top of your deck, and then you're like, hey, that's pretty cool. So yeah, this is an interesting card. Also, I'm just going to say this now before it's too late. His thing is that he can't have more softwares than hardwares in play. Otherwise, his softwares will be destroyed. Well, at least some of them. Also, each hardware only has 1 copy to it. Each software has 2 copies to it. Okay, let's move along. Inferno Missile Pod. Whenever you discard a card from your hand, you may put it under this card. At the end of your turn, destroy all cards under this card, then Benchmark deals 1 target, 1 fire damage, X times, where X equals number of cards destroyed. This is the best mixed with damage buffs. Imagine if he had plus 4 damage, which is possible. It's possible. If he had that, and he destroyed at least 5 cards from under this cards, because he somehow discarded 5 in 1 turn, who knows how. Dealing that to the main villain is a good 25 fire damage. Think about it. Dealing him 1 plus 4, so 5 damage 5 times, is a really good thing. So, he draws plenty of cards, and he also discards a lot of cards, and this card can take advantage of that. His innate power is not only versatile with a bit of damage, but also gets him an extra card, so is good. Next is Legion Core Processor. At the start of your turn, you may either move 1 software card from your trash into your hand, or you may use a power. Great card. Get this when you can, if you can. Having an extra power at the start of your turn is so good. Or you could move a software from your trash in your hand, but why do that when you can have an extra power? unless you don't have an extra power to use. In that case, do that first bit. Microfabrication. At the end of your turn, you may play a hardware card or draw a card. Then you may discard a card. Again, discarding. If you have plenty of hardwares in your hand that you want to put into play, but you can't because you can only play one card during a turn, and you're like, man, I want these in play now, use this. Otherwise, if you don't, you can draw an extra card at the end of your turn. He has many ways of getting plenty of cards and many ways of discarding cards, so under normal circumstances, you would not have to worry about being low on cards. Probably. Onboard cooling systems, definitely not inspired by Absolute Zero. The first time a software card enters play each turn, Benchmark deals up to 2 targets 2 cold damage each. You may use an additional power during your power phase. Not only is that second bit good, if you play this early on in the game, and then start building up your softwares equal to your hardwares, that's a lot of good cold damage. This is good. It's really good. Reinforced chassis. Reduce damage dealt to Benchmark by 1. Immediately good. Plus he has a considerably high amount of health. I'd probably say that about 27 is the standard, so him having 31 health is also pretty good. Mixed with that, he won't die as quickly. So, great. Yes, he's a setup character. Oh well. Secondary cannon. Whenever Benchmark uses a power, you may discard a card. If you do, Benchmark deals 1 target 1 projectile damage. And then if you also have that discarded card will lead into more damage at the end of your turn. So having a secondary cannon is good. Have it. Is good. Alright. Upgraded memory unit. Increase HP recovery by Benchmark by 1. At the end of your turn, if you have 5 or fewer cards in hand, draw a card. If you do not draw a card this way, you may play a software card. So, yeah, if you're low on cards, this helps you with that. Or you could just play more software cards, which is alright. This is a pretty good card, even for that first bit, because your very next hardware is about healing. Subcutaneous. Is that how you spell subconscious? Cybernetics. Ugh. I know words, half of them. The first time Benchmark is dealt damage each turn, you may discard a card. If you do, Benchmark regains 1 HP. At the end of your turn, Benchmark regains 1 HP. So, it's pretty good. If you have plenty of cards, drawing plenty of cards, and you're like, sure, I'm willing to discard a card to regain 1 HP. If you mix it with that, then it's 2 HP, but either way, it's good. Even for that end of turn effect. It is good. So those are all the hardwares. You can have more softwares in play than hardwares, but some of them will get destroyed at the start of your turn. So that's all you have to worry about. Moving on to the softwares, the ongoing softwares. Ally Matrix, 2 copies. There's 2 copies of each software. And like 7 out of 10 give you powers, so there's that. Power. Discard a card. If you do, one other player may draw a card and use a power. That's pretty good, you know, mixed with Stuntman. In case if you didn't know, Stuntman pretty much all of his powers are better if they're used outside of his turn. So this not only discards a card for you, but also allowing someone else to draw a card and use a power is good with pretty much anyone. Think about it. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. So if you have an easy way to get your softwares back, you go ahead and play more than your hardware, because it'll even get you extra cards. That draw a card bit, so good. So good. Alright. Auto-targeting protocol. Power. Benchmark deals up to 5 targets 1 energy damage. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, and draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. It's good. The thing I like about Benchmark is he's a chipper. He'll do tiny bits of damage, chipping away at the enemy. But the best part is if he has damage increases, he's immediately doing so much more damage than just 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. He's amazing. That's also why I like Chrono Ranger. Countermeasures. Whenever Benchmark would be dealt damage by a non-hero target with 2 or fewer HP, destroy that target instead. It's great. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. So, yeah, you won't be dealt damage if you're being attacked by a target with 2 or fewer HP. Instead, that target just dies. It just goes away. Great, great card. You only need 1 in play, though. There are 2, you only need 1. I'm just saying. Intel Analyzer. Power. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. So immediately you make up for that, discarding. Then, you may play a software card. So, drawing and then discarding definitely fills that up a bit. I'm just gonna stop referring to that, because hopefully you'll remember it at this point. That's like one of the best ones if you have plenty of damage increases. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. Great power. Just saying, great power. Alright, moving on. Intervening Path Calculator. Whenever the hero with the lowest HP would be dealt damage, you may redirect that damage to Benchmark. You could either, at the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware and play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. You could use this to either protect your hero target with the lowest HP, like if it was a Raptor bot or something. But even if you're doing that, if it's a target with 2 or fewer HP and you had countermeasures into play, there would be no damage. You'd just be friggin' destroying it for free. Also, if that target would only be dealing 1 damage and you had your reinforced chassis in play, you'd just be reduced to nothing. I'm trying not to reference Endgame so much right now. I'm serious. Load on initialization. At the start of your turn, you may either draw a card or play a software card. Then, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. There are 2 of these, so at the start of your turn, you could be drawing 2 cards, or playing more softwares if you want, but drawing 2 cards at the start of your turn is just so good. This is one of my favorite softwares you can have. Here's another one of my favorites. Multipoint HUD. Power. Increases damage dealt by Benchmark this turn by 1. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. So, again, mixed with Legion Core processor and onboard cooling systems to use a power at the start of your turn and then an additional power during your power phase. You could use both of these first, or even just one is good enough, to increase plenty of your damage. You know, like with that and that power, or even just this one, it's pretty good. It's really good, but you don't want to have damage increases if you're going to use Shunt Energy. Benchmark deals himself 1 energy damage and deals 1 target 4 melee damage. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. You don't want to have too much damage increase if you're going to be planning to use this power, because you'll be doing plenty of damage with that by itself. And if you have your reinforced chassis in play, that damage to you that you did yourself won't even matter. So there's that. And then there's the really good power if you're dealing with a target that has a lot of damage reduction. Tactical Communicator. Select a target. The next damage dealt to that target is irreducible and increased by 2. Even if he's not having damage reduction, that second bit is so good. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. Really great card. Really, really great card. Just, that's all I could say about it. This is more of a one-time deal. Threat Neutralizer. Destroy an ongoing card, an environment card, or a target with 1 HP. Then destroy this card. At the start of your turn, if you have more software than hardware in play, draw a card and destroy 2 software cards. I've immediately taught you plenty of ways to get software cards back from your trash, if you were paying attention. So, using this to destroy a really bad villain ongoing or a really bad environment card that you absolutely do not want is real worth it. Do it. Even if you're at your personal capacity for softwares that would go over your hardwares, play this. You'll just get destroyed either way by using the power. It's pretty good card. This character is so versatile. I'm moving on to the one-shots now. Overhaul Loadout. There are 3 copies to this card. Draw up to 3 cards. Move any number of hardware and software cards in play to your hand. Play up to X hardware and /or software cards, where X equals the number of cards you move to your hand this way. Pretty good. I mean, I don't think I've ever used it, but it is still good if you have like a lot of hardwares that you need to play, like I said. And you have a couple of softwares in play that you could, redo. Like, maybe I want these softwares in play instead of those softwares in play. Then do that. It's a pretty decent card. Not much I could say about it, though, for lack of experience. I've only played this guy a couple of times, but I'm really good at him already. That's not bragging, that's just not bragging. Deployment Actuation. Reveal cards from the top of your deck until a hardware card is revealed. Put it into play. Discard the other revealed cards. You may move a hardware or software card from your trash to your hand. There are 4 copies of this card, and it's great for getting all the hardwares that you can't find. Even though it's random which one you'll get, it's still a hardware, which means more software capacity, which means great. So, yeah, if you have all 9 of your hardwares in play, you'll have the option to have 9 softwares in play without having to worry about any of them getting destroyed. This gets you your hardwares quickly, and there's plenty of copies of it. Also, discarding the other revealed cards it's from your deck, so it's not from your hand, so they don't go under that. They do not go under that. Plus, if any of those discard ones getting to a hardware is a software and you play this early on, or if you have a destroyed hardware, use that second bit to move a hardware or software from your trash to your hand. It's basically 2 free cards. It's great. Flyby. This is a really cool card. Benchmark deals up to 3 targets 2 energy damage each. You may either play a card or return this card to your hand. There are 4 copies of it. Try to have 1 in your hand at all times. At least that's what I would do. You could use the other's second bit to just play a different card, but I like to have at least 1 in my hand at a time. So you play it, it does its damage, and then it can go right back to your hand. It's so good. In my opinion, that is one of the coolest cards, because it's just unique. You don't really see too many cards. It's like, play this, it'll do damage, then you can have it right back. There's plenty of copies of it, so you could use the other ones to discard for, as discard fodder, or to play different cards. But yeah, it's cool. Those are all of his cards. So yeah, here's what you do. You get as many hardwares in play as you can quickly. They're all going to do amazing, cool things. You'll never know what you'll get, so I can't really tell you what to plan for. Definitely use that to get them quickly. Yeah, if you have a lot in your hand that you need to play quicker, use microfabrication. Just get a lot of softwares in play as you need. Here's the thing. There is a 1-to-1 thing. If you had all your hardwares in play, you could have 1 of each of all the good softwares to have in play. You do not need that one in play at all times. Play it only when you see it will immediately fit for the situation. But of course, even if there's some of these you don't want, you'll definitely want 2 of the same ones in play, like the extra drawing cards, or you could go for the double damage increase with your 3 powers in 1 turn. Or that, or literally anything you want. What I like to do, here's what I like to do when I can. I like to have my Inferno Missile Pod. I like to be able to discard and draw plenty of cards. So I usually like both of those in play for extra drawing. I like to have that in play for an extra power. I like to have both of those in play if I can. Because that, with an extra power, I could use one of that. And I could just do that, which is cool. But also if you had your onboard cooling systems, and then start playing all these softwares, that's going to do a lot of cold damage, and also additional power during your power phase. Amazing. Either way, get every hardware you can, even if you're not a fan of it. It is good either way. You don't have to do what it says, because a lot of these are like you may do this, you may do that. Get them all in play for your software capacity. See what you have, play what you want. There's not really much more to say about them, honestly. I'm not even trying to cut you short. That is just it. That's all there is to it. That's all there is about it. I can do a quick recap, like I always do. Use this. Just use it. It's good. because, well, I guess you don't have to use it, but it definitely gets things in your trash. If you ever see anything in your trash good, you have plenty of cards to fish things out of your trash. So yeah, use that. Inferno Missile Pod is amazing either way, because it does plenty of damage mixed with the right things. Legion Core Processor, I don't know why you wouldn't want that. Extra power at the start of the turn is great. Microfabrication, use that, it gets you an extra card, or allows you to play hardwares at the end of your turn. Then you may discard a card, which is great. Use this as soon as you can, if you can, but of course you'll never know what hardware you'll get, or software for that matter. Playing that early on gets you plenty of damage, and if you play it later, it's still an extra power, so it's great. Use this for cool damage reduction. Use this if you want. You don't have to discard a card when you do, but whenever you use a power, you may, to do a bit of extra damage, so it's cool. Use this at least for the HP recovery. I mean, come on. And of course, if you're having low cards, if you're dealing with low cards, you can use this to get you extra cards. But if not, you can play more softwares. Hooray! Use this. The first time benchmark is dealt damage each turn, you may discard a card. If you do, benchmark regains 1 HP. You don't have to do the discarding part if you don't want to, but you can. Which will feed that for lots of cool damage. And at the end of your turn, you regain 1 HP. It's super, super good. Get all your hardwares in play. No questions asked. Get any of these in play if you want. It depends what power you're going for. Discard a card if you do. One other player may draw a card and use a power is good. Dealing up to 5 targets, 1 energy damage each is good. Being dealt damage by a low target HP and then not being dealt damage and instead destroying it is pretty good. But you only need 1 of these in play at a time to be effective. You don't want to waste it having 2. Intel and Analyzer. Drawing cards, discarding cards, and playing a software, but it's a may play a software, so if you don't want to, that's alright. Getting cards and then discarding them is good for feeding that, if you want that. Protecting your hero target with the lowest HP, mixed with either of these two, is really good. Getting extra cards at the start of your turn or playing softwares is amazing. Damage increase is good. If you don't want damage increase and you don't want that, and if you don't want to go with that, even though you can, I guess you can either way. Use this to hurt himself for 1 energy damage. Mixed with that is no damage, and then dealing 1 target 1 melee, 4 melee damage. I can't read. I'm sorry. Then dealing 1 target for melee damage is just a good heckin' chunk of damage. This is good for dealing with literally anyone who has HP. Don't keep this in play, in my opinion. Can if you want, but I wouldn't. Don't keep it in play. Because you could just play it and then use it when you need it. Other than that, keep it in your hand unless you feel like discarding it and you don't think you'll be much help. You have like other heroes who can do similar stuff. That's fine. Use these to get cards you want, mostly this one whenever you see it, and don't ever discard that if you don't have all your hardwares in play. Use it to fill up on your hardwares. You won't know what you'll get, but hopefully you'll get at least one of them, which is guaranteed, which is good either way. Keep 1 of these in your hand. Use the rest to either deal damage and play a different card, or for discard fodder. That's what I like to do. That is how you benchmark. Revo Corp presents benchmark is complexity 3, like I said. Not that bad. All the different types of cards and everything that goes on can make anyone be like, I don't know about this guy. But if you can figure out how to make him work, I have. He's so much fun. His incapacitated abilities are: one player may play a card, one hero may use a power, one player may draw a card. It's literally any of their phases they can do an extra of now. It's pretty good. But of course you don't want him to die. You want this lovely to stay alive. That is how you benchmark. Base flash out. I'm not gonna tell you what will be next time, because it might not happen. Haha. I mean, there'll definitely be more of this, but it might not be who you think it is. It's probably gonna be Bugger, but